Marc, we live in a very special situation now in terms of geopolitics, economy, health, everything. And what has changed in the biggest fair of the world, the most important fair of the world?
Do you mean what's changed since 2021 or since 2019?
In general.
That's not since 2021 or since 2019?
Okay, last year.
Okay. What's changed since last year, obviously, is the fact that we don't have an active pandemic in Western Europe. So we don't have masks, we don't have vaccine checks, and it's the first time that we've had the fair in Basel in summer without masks since June of 2019. So it's a real comeback in that sense. And it's also a real comeback in the sense of the internationalism of the audience, the internationalism of the galleries. And on the other hand, some things have changed. We have ways of working with collectors who are not here. In fact, there are people walking around the show floor with exactly the kind of camera mount that you have, who are working with collectors all over the world who are not present and going to individual booths, showing them individual works. It's what we call the Cs, the Show Experience Assistants. It's a thing that we launched in Hong Kong last year, and which we're still doing despite the fact that the pandemic is effectively over in much of the world, because there's never been a fair where every great collector was present. And so this allows the people who are not present. And what we saw, for example, at the Hong Kong show was that a lot of these tours resulted in sales. So that's a new technique. And obviously it's not the same as being here, but it's better than just sitting in front of a screen. The other thing that's changed is that during the pandemic, a lot of us had a chance to think about how the art world is structured, for whom it works really well and for whom it doesn't work so well. And what that means is that I think in general people are trying to work harder at doing better. And this is a fair which has a greater range of countries, of voices, of artists who are not white, of artists who are not part of the canon than ever before. It's the first time we've had galleries from Uganda, from Senegal, from Saudi Arabia in the fair. Unlimited is full of artists of color from all over the world. And I think that's actually a thing that's here to stay. It's not a pandemic effect. I think it really is something that should have happened long ago, but has finally happened now.
But we were stuck in our house. Geopolitics has changed a lot.
Yeah.
So did it have an impact on your vision of the art market, for example?
I don't think the art market has changed dramatically. I think it's gotten broader. I think many people had a chance to think a little bit about how they wanted to collect and whether they wanted to collect. But I don't see a huge impact of geopolitics. I mean, obviously the Ukraine war has an impact in terms of the themes of some of the booths, in terms of the project that we're doing with the Basel institutions around the work of Boris Mikhailov. It has impact, at least in the short term, in terms of inflation and supply issues. But I don't see how the geopolitics have changed the fair notion fundamentally.
And my other question is about the subject of my article, in fact. The prices in contemporary art today are extremely high. What do you think about that?
Judith, it's a question you've asked me before. And I think it's a question we were asking ourselves back when I was a journalist, which is to say more than 15 years ago.
Yes.
I think for people who've been around and who have a notion of what things should cost, to suddenly see the prices of young artists be very high always seems shocking. But the reality is these are open markets. No one is forcing a collector to pay a certain price. And if an artist's prices rise to a point that collectors continue to pay for it, then the price isn't too high. The question is whether it's sustainable. And I think what we'll see, as we've always seen, is that artists who spike very quickly in price often have a hard time maintaining it.